Hi everyone. So tonight we have Suzi Juno. Now, Suzi, how you going, sweetie?
Good.
That's good. So, I mean, Suzi has been through a lot, and we're going to talk about that tonight, because to me, you have such an amazing, positive attitude, and, I want to share that with everyone who's watching tonight, because I think it's so important when you're going through so much and you have gone through a lot. And I know we've got half an hour, so we're only going to touch on a few of the things, but let's start at now. You come over from New Zealand.
Yes.
When you were how old?
21.
21. And did you come on your own, with friends?
I came on my own.
Or I just decided to...
I decided to come over, and I was going to go further. I was going to go to the YWCA in Sydney, get a job, and then go over to Europe. However, I was met at the airport by my pen friend, and it was his birthday that weekend, and so that's what brought me to Newcastle.
Oh, so you ended up in Newcastle because of a pen friend?
Yes.
Oh, geez, you've got to love that. I mean, for those young viewers, do they even know what that means? I mean, with the World Wide Web, and I actually said it right for the first time. I used to get a bit tongue-tied when I have to say that. So, I mean, pen pals, wow. So how did you get the pen pal? How did that happen? Was that through school or...?
No. I was working in a place called Jeans Junction in Wellington, and he came in, and I used to be a karateka, and he came over with his karate group, and it was the competition between Australia and New Zealand, and it was at where I trained.
Ah, okay. All right. Yeah. So you've come to Australia, 21-year-old, hot looking, and I know hot looking because I've seen the photos, and you've come to Newcastle.
Yes.
So
yes, Tony actually met me at the airport, and it was so funny because it was the day that ABBA arrived. So there was all these screaming people in the airport.
For you.
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay, so we're in Newcastle. Like
yes.
I said, we're 21.
Yes.
And you're with your pen pal.
Yes.
And how did it get to the situation where you actually stayed in Newcastle, that you decided that this is it, I'm not going back to New Zealand, or I'm not going to Europe, I'm staying in Newcastle?
Well,
what happened then?
I ran away from my first husband. That's why I came to Australia. And
so you were married then?
I was.
21,
yes,
right?
yes.
Do you have children?
No, I had an abortion, unfortunately. While I was in Australia, in New Zealand,
you terminated the pregnancy.
I terminated the pregnancy, but I had to come to Arncliffe to do that because it was against the law in New Zealand at that stage.
Really?
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then when I was here in Newcastle, first in Newcastle, I just applied for jobs, and this one was selling house paint around Australia. And I thought, oh, that'll be an interesting job.
Have you ever done anything like that before?
No. No, you just...
So you knew nothing about house paint. I mean, well, you could though back then. I can remember going for jobs. It was like you pick. You could just walk into a place and say, "Have you got any work?" And that's how it happened. So
well, I applied for it, and they had a piece of paper that I had to ring farmers and just state what I had in front of me. And some farmers would say, yes, I would like that to happen. My house needs painting, so, yeah.
So that's how you worked in that industry?
Yes.
Selling house paint?
Selling house paint.
To farmers?
To farmers. And unfortunately, my boss, we got to Wagga Wagga, and my boss had a heart attack. So then I had to come back to Newcastle, and I had another pen friend. But, unfortunately, I can't remember the name of the pub. One of the pubs burned down, and there was a couple that were staying at that pub, and so he didn't really have much room there either. So they ended up finding me a place to stay with a couple called Billy and Trish, and they were really lovely.
Okay, so then you've got, so how old were you then by this time?
22.
22. So all this has happened in a year.
Yeah.
So how did you get to meet your husband?
Ray Juno. Okay. Through Floss.
Okay, so a
'Cause
girlfriend of yours?
I met Floss in New Zealand. We used to go to the Ngāmutu Tavern where Chuck Erawata used to play in his band, Crossfire, I think they were called. And Floss was there, and I was just besotted with Floss. She was just amazing. And so I looked her up, and that got me out to Swansea.
So was she in New Zealand as a tourist, or?
Yeah, she was just there as a tourist.
So you met her in New Zealand, and then you've contacted her when you've come to Newcastle because this is where she's from?
Yes.
Okay, right. Okay, so then you've met your husband through her?
No, it was out at the Mawson. Back in those days, John Hill used to have every Monday night a music show, and Ray Juno spotted me, and then I didn't see him, and then I was at Daniel one night and he was there and nothing happened. But then I went to the Mawson one day and he actually jumped a pool table and he grabbed me and he said, I've got you now, you're not getting away.
Wow, charmer. Nothing like going for what you want. So then you met, and I know you've got a daughter, so how long after that did you have Sarah?
Okay. Well, we were together 8 years altogether. So Sarah was born in 1980. So and I came over in 77. Sarah was born in 1980, and then I left Ray in 1986.
Okay, so you've got a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And you've split up from your marriage.
Yes.
Not a happy marriage, or?
No.
Okay, so...
No, it was a verbal abuse.
Okay, well that's not very nice for anyone, really.
No.
And no one should have to put up with that, no matter what.
No.
Because there's no excuse for that.
No.
Whether you be male or female. So, okay, so then you've split up there, you've got a 6-year-old, and then what did you do?
I went on the pension, of course, with my Sarah, and I eventually went to TAFE and got my personal carer's certificate, and I did my certificate 3 in aged care.
Okay, and this is why we've come to this, because today Suzi has done full circle. Now let's just fill in the middle bit, which is like the importance of being healthy and looking after yourself and staying positive through no matter whatever happens. So Suzi does suffer from bipolar.
I do.
And you're medicated.
Yes.
And when did you find out about that? Like what happened for you to actually go to the doctor and...
I didn't go to the doctor. It was in the 2nd year of driving buses now. I was on the buses for 15 years. So 14 years ago, I went through a paranoid state of mind where I thought people were following me, and it was just dreadful. And it was in the summertime. It was horrible. And my friend Jenny, who's a nurse, recognised the fact that I had major problems because I was coming out with stupid things. And so she took me into, what's it called? Not Watt Street.
a facility, to get assessed.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And I still had my jammies on, actually. And so I went in and I said, what can I do while I'm in there? They said, there's a bookshelf in there, go to the bookcase. So the very first book I grabbed, I sat down, I read it, the whole thing from cover to cover, and I took it to the nurse and I said, this describes me to a T.
Wow. So did it happen suddenly for you, or was it over a period of time that this build-up came?
Probably over a period of a week. It happened, I had picked up, because I'm a bus driver at this stage, I picked up this beautiful Sudanese boy. There was only 2 in the uni at the time, and this particular boy was in a horrendous car accident and he died, and that is what set me in a spin.
So it triggered you then?
It triggered it, yes.
And then it started happening where you were actually...
I wasn't coping. I was doing stupid things on the bus. People were ringing up and saying there's something major wrong with the driver, and so
and
it was.
This is with state transit.
This is with state transit.
So government
yes.
bus, yeah, and
yeah.
Okay, so so you've realised now that there's a problem. You've gone to get help.
Yes.
And what happened then? How did that...
Well, I was in the facility for 8 weeks. It was terrible because I was powerless because they weren't listening to me. They were treating me like a drug addict and an alcoholic. And my friends that had known me for years and years were going in and saying, look, she's none of that. And it took me, I had to say to Sarah, I'm sorry. You are the only person that can save me.
And this is your daughter?
My Sarah, yes. And so she...
How old was she then?
Oh, she wasn't quite... I missed her 21st, so she was either 20 or 21. It may have been after her 21st, I think, that she came in. And she went to it's called the family circle, where the members get together with the psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist looked at Sarah and said, your mother's a drug addict, isn't she? And Sarah said, no. And she's an alcoholic. No. Mum doesn't drink. The only time Mum has marijuana is at the weekends with the girls. So then, because by this stage I'm on antipsychotic drugs and I was like a walking zombie. It was
and you
dreadful.
Into marijuana, like on a weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
At that stage I was. And so...
did that escalate anything? Like, did that calm you down, or did that help you, or...?
Actually, it was like speed. Marijuana was like speed. It would keep me awake 24/7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
then...
it really wasn't good. So I knew, the last time I had some, I knew that it was wrong, that I had to stop, because it was just no good for me. So then they got me off the antipsychotic drugs, and then I went home, basically. And
what,
with medication.
Right, yeah.
So
you were heavily medicated, or...?
No, I just have a tablet that I take. I was taking it 3 times a day. Now I'm on 5 times a day. And it keeps me balanced. The way they described it was, with bipolar, we've got ions in the brain that go round and round. When you've got bipolar, you have a break in that ion, and that's what sends you potty.
Oh, okay. So you're coping with this. Your daughter's 21, you've missed her 21st.
Yes.
So then you've got... So let's look at further down the track when you are diagnosed with diabetes.
Yes.
So how long after that were you diagnosed with the diabetes?
Okay, it was... When did you move out of Donald Street? How long have you been out of Donald Street?
Oh, a while.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah, so it was way back then, was it?
That's when I was first diagnosed, because Annie was helping you pack, and Annie was staying here, and she came home and she found me.
That's right. So you went in, yes, because she found you because you'd gone into a shock or whatever happens to you.
I was almost in a coma.
Yeah.
Coma. She rang the ambulance, and the ambulance came. They tested my sugar straight away. They got me down the stairs. They put me in the ambulance. They raced me off to Belmont Hospital, put a drip in me, and I overheard him say to Annie, "It's a miracle. This woman's alive. Her sugar level is 57, and I should be in a coma."
What's a normal sugar level?
Between 5 and 8.
So you're at 57.
57.
Wow, that's extraordinary.
Mm.
I mean, you got through that. So then you eventually were diagnosed with diabetes, and you were guided through looking after yourself with diabetes. Like you were shown how to actually look after yourself.
Yes.
And
with a tablet and food.
Right. So you manage that now?
Yes.
So what level diabetes are you at?
Between 5 and 8.
Okay.
Occasionally, if I'm naughty at night, I'll be probably 10 in the morning, but that's okay.
All right.
That
So we've
doesn't
got
happen
through.
all the time.
So the bipolar's still happening, and you're still medicated.
Yes.
Then you've gone through the diabetes.
Yes.
Now that's under control.
Yes.
And you're still driving the buses.
At that stage, I was.
Yeah. And then you were feeling unwell, or did you find a lump in your breast, or what happened next? How did...
The bus depot have a pink bus every year, every 2 years, where they fill the bus with the ladies and we all go and get tested at the NBN.
That's amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
What a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah.
So the government have a bus.
Yes.
I just want to get this clear so that people... Because, I mean, I think this is a wonderful thing. And maybe there could be other organisations out there or companies that could do the same thing. You know, maybe a rental car company or something could fill a couple of cars up with women to go and get themselves tested for breast cancer. Like, what a wonderful thing. So the government fills a bus with women and takes them all to go and have their breast cancer checked.
Yes.
Wow, okay, so you've gone with them, yeah,
Yes.
and what's happened as a result of that?
I was the only one out of all of the women that came back positive.
So how many went?
Oh gosh, there must have been at least 15 of us.
Wow, that's a wonderful thing to do, though.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that, you know, that it happened to you, but, you know, what a wonderful thing to actually do.
They were amazed that I hadn't felt it. And I had actually felt the lump under my arm, but because of the bipolar and the diabetes, I didn't even think. You don't think cancer, you know, not cancer, that can't happen to me. Suzi Juno hasn't got cancer. No way. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and especially when you're going through other situations, like you've got the bipolar and, you know, so you're thinking that, oh, like nothing else could happen to me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so when they finally did the biopsy and it came back, it was actually here, and it was dotted right across my nipple and right under my arm.
Wow.
And when I finally so they tested it, told me, went and saw the nurse, and luckily Sue Parker was there, so she was able to support me. And the nurse said to me, look, you can either have a lumpectomy, which will mangle your boob, or you can have a mastectomy. And of course the tears started and I cried. And Sue Parker was so lovely. She said, it's all right, Susie, come on, it's okay.
Because she's gone through her own hell, hasn't she?
Yes.
with cancer.
Yes.
Like, God bless her.
Yes, she
And
has.
she was there for you
Yes.
when she's living her own hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, dear.
Absolutely. So I had a mastectomy and had to wait a year before I could get it reconstructed, and which they did. But in the 4 years, it's taken me 4 years to snap out of my misery, because this is actually coming up to my 5th year of surviving it, and what snapped me out of my misery was 2 other ladies from Dragons Abreast. And at that stage I was only wearing these hideous sports bras which were giving me no support whatsoever, and I was at a Dragons Abreast regatta in Sydney, and I walked up to Gabby. They said, "Oh, how are you, Susie?" And I said, "Oh, I'm not happy." And they said, "Why, what's wrong?" And I said, "Well, I'm not happy with the way the surgeon's done my boobs." And the lady here, she was the lady that, the anaesthetist, Gabby and Luana. And Gabby said, "Show me." So I lifted her top up, and she said, "Oh, look at the bloody bra you're wearing. No wonder you're not happy. It's fine." And then she lifted hers up, and I'm going, "Oh." And her scar is right across here. And I'll tell you what, snapped me right out of it. She said, "Susie, go and get yourself some decent bras." And so I did.
And I mean, it's been it's just such a horrible journey for anyone to go through.
Yes.
What you've been through.
Yes.
And like, you're celebrating 5 years, and congratulations.
Yeah.
Like, 5 years is awesome. Like,
Yes.
it's just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
Any year is.
Yes.
And you have, and I mean, I've observed this as a friend to you.
Yes.
You have been so positive, and eventually then you lost your job due to medical...
No, I lost my job on the buses because of I had too many bus accidents that were my fault. So they advised me to retire, so I did.
But that's because you were going through everything with the breast cancer, and
Possibly.
and maybe not concentrating properly and whatever. But after having 3 accidents in the bus, when you've been driving them for 17 years, and never had an accident?
No, over a period of I was there 15 years with the buses.
15, yeah.
No, I had a lot of. My folder was probably about this high. You just gotta laugh.
Oh gosh. Oh dear.
But they were so supportive of me.
Yeah, and that's beautiful.
Through all of this, they were so supportive. And so when I lost my job, I came home and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I don't want to go back into aged care. So I am a personal carer, so I started answering. I would go to the library, and I would send off Vince helped me with my CV, and I sent it off to all these different places, and I sent it off to a curo, and the next day they rang me.
So you got a job as a carer?
Yes.
With people with disabilities? And
people with disabilities, yes, I take them shopping. I deal with people anywhere from a lot of mental disabilities,
mental health,
mental health, physical disabilities, and yeah, but it's so interesting. I like it.
So you've done full circle.
I have.
And that's why I wanted you on the show tonight, because in my eyes, you have remained so positive. You never gave up. You were always one to say, well, all right, well, okay, I had that little crying out. Now what's next? I've got to I can't just sit around. Something's got to happen. I've got to do something to change that.
Yes.
And you did. You got up and you went and got another job.
Yeah.
Even after breast surgery, even after living through cancer, even after actually living with diabetes and bipolar, and that's chronic. The bipolar that you have is not just your little bit here and there. It's an absolute condition.
It is.
And you have gone through all that, still remain so positive, gone and got another job, started a new life, and you've done a complete full circle. And congratulations. You're inspiring to everyone. And I'm sure tonight there'll be lots of people out there, you know, sending messages in and saying how inspiring you are, Suzi Juno, and what a wonderful woman you are for never giving up, because that's one thing that this show is all about, is presenting inspiring people that don't give up, because out there in our world there's so many people that they can't take it, and you know that's okay too, because there has to be all different sorts of people out there for this world to keep turning.
Yes.
You just happen to be inspiring and strong and, you know, never give up. And that's what this is about, because each and every night when I have these interviews, I ask that, you know, towards the end of the show, and I know we're probably going a little bit over time tonight, but, you know, I ask people to think about, there's someone out there right now, Suzi. Just say there's someone out there watching this show tonight, and maybe they've been diagnosed with bipolar, maybe they've been diagnosed with diabetes, maybe they've been diagnosed with breast cancer or some other form of cancer, some sort of health condition, and they're not coping with it. And maybe they just need to hear something from someone like you that can give them a little bit of direction and inspiration, and know that, you know, don't give up.
Exactly. Don't give up.
So, do you want to just look over there and speak into that little microphone there and give everyone a message? What would you say to them? Just talk to them as if they're sitting there talking to you right now. What would you tell them?
Stay positive. Always stay positive. And don't give up. I haven't. You just can't. Life goes on. And our loved ones need us, you know. It's quite surprising. I have a lovely daughter and she keeps me going. I have lovely sisters. I have lovely friends and family. And you just have to keep going. You keep going for yourself and for them.
Very good message. You know what? Yeah, I mean, it's true. There's some beautiful people out there, and amongst them, you know, the people that support me each and every week on this show. And I want to say thank you to those right now. We've got Evelyn McGecky. Thank you, Evelyn. Debbie O'Donoghue, thank you so much. And Beck Cassidy. Tracy Waddell, thank you. Jodie McCarter. And Anne Egan-Plazier. Trudy McGovern. Larry Lowe. Tammy Morgan, Sia Byrne, Marlene Jones, Kath Smith, Georgina Harry, Reese Livermore, Denise Martin, thank you Denise, Shem Williams, Musgrove, Kate Clulo, and Louise Ann Poole. We've got Amber Jane Sterling, thank you Amber, Shireen Lowe, thank you, and these people from all over the place, let me tell you. Catherine McNally, thank you. Tricia Hoffitz, Kylie Latham, Anne Colachew, Kimber Mars, and Gabrielle Bailey. Thank you. They're just some of the people tonight that have tuned in and just keep watching this show and are just so supportive of what I'm doing. And you know what? You know, it is about staying positive. It is about never giving up. And no matter what, go and talk to someone. If there's a problem in life for you right now, don't keep it inside. Go share it. Go and get help. And no matter what, never, ever give up. Just know that you're going to be okay. So from me to you, know that you're going to be okay. And thank you, everyone, for joining me tonight. Thank you. And thank you, Suzi, you beautiful girl. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.